lay down the anxiety you have been gripping for so long. Not all of it. I am not asking for that yet. Just loosen one finger. Just enough to feel that you are the one holding it, not the other way around. Because somewhere along the way, the anxiety stopped being something you carried and started being something that carried you. It became the room you woke up in. It became the soundtrack you stopped noticing because you forgot what silence used to sound like. And I came in close, not to demand that you let go all at once, not to scold you for how tightly you have been holding, but to sit beside that grip and remind you what is on the other side of it. There is a particular tiredness that comes from being braced for impact for years. Your body forgets how to unclench. Your mind forgets that it is allowed to rest. Your chest forgets that breathing is supposed to be deep, not shallow. You have been living in a posture of preparation for so long that the preparation has become your personality. You think this is who you are. It is not who you are. It is who you became when you ran out of places to put the worry. I see what the anxiety has cost you. Mornings that did not feel like mornings. Conversations you replayed for hours after they ended. Decisions you postponed because every option felt like a trap. Plans you made, then unmade, then made again. Not because the plans were wrong, but because your nervous system could not believe any plan was safe. Hours you lay awake while the rest of the world slept easily, and you wondered what was wrong with you that sleep had become so foreign. There is nothing wrong with you. There is something heavy on you. There is a difference, and the difference matters more than you know. Put your hand on your chest right now, right where the breath has been getting stuck, that place that has been tight for longer than you can remember. I want you to feel it under your palm, not to fix it, not to push it down, not to make it go away by force, just to acknowledge it, to say, with the simple honesty of your own hand, here is the place where I have been carrying too much. I came to take it, not to ask you to keep carrying it. Read that sentence twice if you need to. Because everything you were taught about endurance, about strength, about being the one who holds it together, told you the opposite. You were told that the strong carry more. I am telling you that the strong learn when to put it down. You were told that anxiety is the price of caring deeply. I am telling you that you can care deeply without being shredded by what you care about. You were told that worry is responsibility. I am telling you that worry is the imitation of responsibility, the costume responsibility wears when it has lost its trust. You have been responsible enough, more than enough. You have been so responsible that you started to believe the entire weight of every outcome rested on whether you stayed alert at 3 in the morning, as if your sleep was the danger, as if your rest was the betrayal, as if the moment you stopped scanning the horizon for the next blow would arrive because of your inattention. That is not responsibility. That is the lie the anxiety taught you to tell yourself so it could stay in the room a little longer. I am the one who keeps watch, not you. I am the one who scans the horizon, not you. I am the one who handles the things you cannot see and would not understand if I tried to explain them. Your job, your only job, is to lay down what was never yours to carry and to let me be what I have always been, the watcher, the guardian, the one whose attention does not waver, whose vigilance does not tire, whose love does not get distracted by the small fires that keep you awake. Think for a moment about how much of your inner life has been spent in surveillance, mental scanning of every conversation for hidden meaning, replaying past mistakes in case there is still some lesson you missed, forecasting what might go wrong so you can be ready to respond, reviewing finances late at night, not because the math will change at midnight, but because looking feels like control, checking locks twice, checking the children's breathing one more time, then once more after that, rehearsing the difficult conversation you might need to have 10 different ways so you will not be caught unprepared. None of that vigilance has actually made the future safer. The future has always been in my hands, regardless of how many times you imagined it. The vigilance has only made the present heavier. I want you to feel, just for a moment, the relief of being relieved of duty. You are off the watch. You are not the security system. You are not the contingency planner. You are not the one whose alertness is propping up the world. The world does not require your alertness in the way the anxiety has been telling you it does. The world is held by hands much larger than yours, and those hands have been holding it since before you were born, and they will be holding it long after you are sleeping. The kind of sleep that does not have to scan for danger. You are allowed to sleep that way now. You are allowed to set the scanning aside the way a soldier sets down a rifle when the war is over. The war is over for you. You did not lose. You did not fail. You finished. And finishing means you are allowed to rest. So breathe with me. 3 slow breaths. The first one to remember that breath is allowed. The second one to feel that the room you are in is, at this moment, safe. The third one to let your shoulders drop 1/4 of an inch lower than they have been sitting. That is enough. We are not aiming for transformation in 3 breaths. We are aiming to remind your body that there is such a thing as exhale, that the inhale is not the only motion, that what you take in must also be released, or it will calcify inside you and turn into the thing you have been calling anxiety. Now I want to tell you what is actually happening when I come into your life like this, because the anxiety has trained you to expect that anyone arriving with attention is arriving with demands. That love comes with a list. That presence comes with a price. That the moment someone notices you, they are about to ask you for something, or they are about to leave when you cannot give what they wanted. So when I draw near, your body braces. It does not know yet that I am different. It does not know yet that I am the one kind of attention that does not extract. I do not arrive with threats. I do not arrive with the heavy commandments that fill you with guilt. I do not arrive with a list of everything you should have already done by now. My love is not the kind that walks in counting. My love is the kind that walks in carrying its own light, and the light is for the room, and the light is for you, and the light asks nothing of you except that you let it stay. Let it stay. That is the only request. Let it stay long enough for the corners to soften. Let it stay long enough for the air in the room to remember that it is allowed to be warm. Let it stay long enough for your body to recognize, slowly, almost reluctantly, that something has changed in here. The change is me. The change is that I have not left, and I am not leaving. And the patience I am bringing into this moment is patience the anxiety has never seen before. The anxiety knew impatience. It learned the rhythm of footsteps walking out. It learned the sound of doors closing harder than they needed to. It learned the silence that follows when someone has decided you are too much to deal with. So when I sit down beside it, the anxiety does not know what to do. It expects me to leave. It expects me to lose interest. It expects me to give up on the slow work of being present without trying to fix everything. I am not going to leave. I am going to outlast it. This is the secret about the kind of love I bring. It does not race anxiety. It does not try to win the conversation. It does not show up with a clever argument that will finally convince your nervous system to relax. It just stays. It stays through the loop of repetitive worry. It stays through the moment when you almost believe you're calm, and then a new thought arrives and undoes everything. It stays through the days when you are too tired to even articulate what you are afraid of. It stays without commentary. It stays without a verdict. It stays the way a candle stays in a room where the wind keeps blowing through the window. The wind makes the flame flicker. The flame does not go out. You have been the flame that does not go out. The wind has been very strong. You assumed the flickering meant you were failing. The flickering meant you were alive. The flickering meant you were still trying. And every flicker that you thought was your weakness I was watching as evidence of how much had to be working inside you for the flame to stay lit at all. Most people do not understand what it costs to keep going while anxious. I understand. I see every cost. I see the way you have paid in advance for things that have not even happened yet. And I am here to refund what was paid for nothing. The future you have been worrying about is not a place that exists yet. It is a story your mind has been rehearsing because rehearsing felt safer than waiting. But you cannot prepare for every possible version of what is coming. You exhausted yourself trying. The exhaustion is not proof you did not try hard enough. The exhaustion is proof that what you were attempting was impossible. And impossible work always ends in collapse, no matter how strong the worker. I am not asking you to do impossible work. I am asking you to do the small possible work of trusting me with the next hour, not the next year, not the rest of your life, just the next hour. And inside that hour, I am asking you to let the anxiety make a smaller sound than it has been making. Not silent, smaller. Because total silence is too much to expect today. Smaller is enough. Smaller is the beginning of how a thing dies, and the anxiety is going to die. But it is going to die slowly, and we are taking our time. The slowness is itself part of the medicine. Most of your life, the urgency has been the loudest voice in the room. Speed up and figure it out. Speed up and feel better. Speed up and become the version of yourself you are supposed to be. That pressure has been pushing you so hard that you forgot there are real seasons in real lives, and seasons take the time they take, and the trying to skip them only delays them. I'm not rushing you. I have time. I have all of it. And inside the time I have, there is room for the slow process of an anxious heart learning that it can rest without being abandoned. That learning is not a one-day learning. That learning is a 1,000-day learning, and every day of it counts. Even the days that feel like nothing, even the days that feel like backsliding, even the days that feel like the anxiety has won again. None of those days are wasted. Every one of them is part of the curriculum. Say your own name out loud, just once, quietly, if there are people around. But say it. Hear it spoken in your own voice. That is the name I have been calling. That is the name I knew before you knew your name. That is the name attached to the soul I am holding right now. And the holding is not metaphorical. There is a real holding. There is a real upholding. There is a real and present sustaining of you that has been continuous since the day you took your first breath. And it will be continuous through every breath that remains. Whisper this back to me, gently, like a person who is letting themselves believe something they have been afraid to believe. Just this. Today, the anxiety can be smaller. Say it again if you need to. Today, the anxiety can be smaller. Notice that I did not ask you to declare it gone. I did not ask you to fake a faith you do not feel. I did not ask you to perform a victory you have not yet experienced. I asked for smaller. Smaller is real. Smaller is honest. Smaller is the first move of a wall that is going to come down brick by brick, and brick by brick is the only way walls actually come down. The miracle is not in the speed. The miracle is in the persistence, and persistence is what I do best. Now, I want you to understand something about why the anxiety came in the first place, because if you do not understand the why, you will keep blaming yourself for its arrival, and the blame will keep feeding it the energy it needs to stay. The anxiety came because you were trying to protect something you loved with resources you did not have. That is the whole story. You were trying to protect your family. You were trying to protect your future. You were trying to protect the people who depend on you. You were trying to protect the version of yourself you wanted to become before time ran out. And no one ever told you that protection on that scale is not a human-sized job. It is a divine-sized job. You took it on because no one else seemed to be taking it on, and the taking on broke pieces of you that were not designed to bear that weight. The pieces are not broken beyond repair. I am here as the repair. But before the repair can begin, you have to admit that you are carrying what was not yours to carry, and you have to forgive yourself for the carrying instead of being angry at yourself for not carrying it more skillfully. The carrying was love. The carrying was loyalty. The carrying was the most beautiful kind of misplaced devotion, and I am not angry at you for it. I am proud of the heart that tried. I just need that heart to learn that it has a partner now, and the partner does the heavy parts, and the heart does the light parts, and the division of labor changes everything. Here is the division I am proposing. You bring the willingness, I bring the strength. You bring the openness, I bring the outcome. You bring the showing up, I bring the result. You bring the next breath, I bring the next 1,000. You bring this 1 hour of trust, I bring eternity. Does that sound fair? It should not sound fair. It should sound generous to the point of being suspicious, because that is exactly what grace sounds like to a heart that has been negotiating with anxiety for years. Anxiety negotiates harshly. Grace does not negotiate. Grace just gives. And the giving is so disproportionate to anything you bring that the only honest response is to receive without trying to balance the books. The books are not balanced. They were never going to be balanced. That is the whole point. If these words are landing somewhere real in you, leave the word peace in the comments. Not for me. For your own throat to say something that has been waiting to be said. There is something that happens when a person names what they are receiving. The naming makes it stickier. The naming gives the truth a place to live, and the comment is not the gift. The gift is what the naming does inside of you. The comment is just the witness. While you are deciding whether to type that word, let me tell you what I am doing right now in your inner life. I am separating the wheat from the chaff. The wheat is the part of you that is real, that is loved, that is mine. The chaff is the layer of false beliefs that the anxiety wove around you over the years. The chaff includes the belief that you are too much. The chaff includes the belief that you are not enough. The chaff includes the belief that love must be performed for. The chaff includes the belief that you have to be useful to be wanted. None of that is true about you. All of that is true about the world that taught you to believe it. I am separating those beliefs from your soul one strand at a time, and the wind that does the separating is gentle, and the chaff is carried away into a place where it will never bother you again. The wheat that remains is luminous. It is the version of you that was there before the anxiety arrived. It is the version of you that smiles at small kindnesses. It is the version of you that cries at the part of the song where the music swells. It is the version of you that lights up when a child runs to hug you. It is the version of you that stops what you are doing to watch a sunset, because the sunset matters more in that moment than whatever was in your hands. That version of you is not gone. It was never gone. The anxiety just covered it. And as the anxiety lifts, that version is going to come back into view, and you are going to recognize yourself again, and the recognition is going to feel like a homecoming. Now, sit with me here a little longer. We are coming to the part of this conversation that asks more of you than what came before. Not more effort, more honesty. There is a difference, and the difference is going to matter. The honest thing is this: some of the anxiety you have been carrying is not about what you say it is about. The thing you say is making you anxious is real. I am not dismissing it. But underneath the surface anxiety, there is an older anxiety that has been waiting for the surface anxiety to leave so it can finally be seen. The surface anxiety is loud. The older anxiety is quieter, and it is the one I really came for. The older anxiety is the one that learned, when you were too young to defend yourself, that love was conditional, that attention had to be earned, that if you slipped even a little, the people whose approval you needed could be lost. The older anxiety is the one that is still trying to prevent that loss, even though the people are not the same people anymore, even though the conditions are not the same conditions anymore. The older anxiety did not get the memo that you are safer than you used to be. It is still operating on instructions written when you were 6. I came to update those instructions, gently, not all at once. Not by tearing down the protective structures you built when you were small, because those structures kept you alive long enough to grow up and find me. I came to walk into the rooms where the old instructions are still being read out loud and to offer a new reading. The new reading says, you do not have to perform for love. The new reading says, you do not have to scan for danger that is not there. The new reading says, the thing you have been afraid of deep down is no longer a thing that can take you. You are not the child who could be abandoned anymore. You are a person with a father who is closer than your own breath, and the abandonment scenario you keep rehearsing has been ruled out by the simple fact of who I am. Sit with that. Do not rush to agree. Just let the sentence be in the room with you. The abandonment scenario you keep rehearsing has been ruled out by who I am. If you can let that sentence stay even for a minute, the work is being done. You do not need to feel the work happening. You do not need to manufacture an emotion that confirms the work is happening. The work is structural. It is happening at a level beneath what feelings can reach. The feelings will catch up later, sometimes much later, sometimes in a moment when you are doing something completely unrelated and you suddenly notice that something inside you has loosened and you cannot remember when. That is when. That is now. That is this moment we are sharing. Remember Hagar in the desert. She sat at a distance from her thirsty child and wept with no breath left for prayer. In the middle of her weeping, I came and called her by name, not because I did not know where she was, because she needed to remember that her name was known and the knower had not forgotten. I showed her a well of water she had not seen. The water was already there. Her grief had hidden it. My voice did not create the well. My voice just made it visible. That is exactly what is happening now in your life. The provision you cannot see is already there. The well is already there. I am simply turning your face in its direction. Now look back at your anxiety with new eyes. It has been the haze that blurred what was already in front of you. It has been the noise that drowned out the gentler voice underneath. None of this is your failure. Haze is dense. Heaviness is real. But haze lifts. Heaviness moves. And what has been provided for you is already provided. You did not have to dig the source. You only have to drink. I am asking you to drink. That is all today's instruction is. Drink the small sip of peace I am offering in this exact moment. Do not save it for later. Do not refuse it because you do not feel deserving. Do not analyze it for hidden conditions. Just drink. Let it go down into the place that has been thirsty for so long that you forgot what thirst even feels like as a sensation distinct from the rest of your life. I came to take it, not to ask you to keep carrying it. The mantra is here for the second time on purpose. Some sentences need to be said twice because the first time the heart hears them like a poem. The second time the heart hears them like a fact. The first time is for beauty. The second time is for belief. And belief is what we are building sip by sip, breath by breath, with no rush, with no expectation, with the kind of patience only one of us in this conversation has access to in unlimited supply. I am the one with the patience. You can borrow as much of it as you need. Close your eyes for a moment, if you can, just for the time it takes to count to 10 in your own slow rhythm. While your eyes are closed, I want you to picture what happens to your hand when you finally let go of something you have been gripping. The hand does not stay clenched. The fingers uncurl on their own. The blood returns. The cramp eases. There is a moment of strange numbness where the hand has to remember what it feels like to be open. And then the hand is free, and the strange numbness becomes a soft tingling, and the soft tingling becomes warmth, and the warmth becomes the simple, ordinary feeling of being a hand again. Your soul is going to do that. It already is. The clench is loosening. There is going to be a strange, numb stretch where you do not feel anxious, but you also do not feel anything in particular, and that strangeness is going to make you suspicious, like maybe you are missing something. You are not missing anything. You are between two states. You are between the old state and the new state, and the in-between feels empty because it does not have a name yet. Stay in it. Do not run back to the anxiety just because the anxiety was familiar. Familiar is not the same as good. Familiar is not the same as home. Anxiety was your roommate. It was not your home. I am your home, and homes feel different from roommates, and the difference takes time to recognize. Open your eyes. Stay with me. We are almost where we need to be. What I am pouring into the place where the anxiety used to live is not just calm. Calm alone would not be enough. Calm is the absence of agitation, but absence cannot fill a space for long. What I am pouring in is presence. What I am pouring in is love that has substance. What I am pouring in is kindness that has texture. The anxiety drained you. I am not refilling you with the same fluid the anxiety took. I am refilling you with something denser, richer, slower moving. I am refilling you with the kind of inner climate that does not get blown around by the weather of the world. Goodness is going to start showing up in your life in ways that make you blink. Small, specific kindnesses. A stranger holding a door longer than they had to. A song arriving on the radio at the exact moment you needed those words. A friend texting to check in, not because they knew, but because something nudged them to. A memory surfacing that reminds you of who loved you well, instead of the memories of who left. These are not coincidences. These are the texture of grace becoming perceptible. The grace was always there. Your nervous system was too busy guarding to notice it. As the guarding eases, the grace becomes visible. And once you start seeing it, you cannot unsee it, and the seeing changes everything. Here is what I want you to do as the seeing begins. Do not try to verify it. Do not try to prove to yourself that what you are seeing is real. The skeptical part of you will want to test the goodness, to make sure it is not a trick, to see if it lasts under scrutiny. Do not do that. Goodness is shy. Goodness does not perform under inspection. Goodness simply moves through your life like a quiet visitor, and the only way to keep the visitor coming is to receive the visit without trying to interrogate it. Receive the visit. Say thank you. Let the kindness do its small repair. Move on with your day. Tomorrow there will be another visit. The visits will become more frequent the less you investigate them. The reason I am being this specific is that you have been trained by years of difficulty to mistrust good things. Good things felt like the calm before the storm. Good things felt like setups for disappointment. Good things felt like the universe loaning you a moment of relief that it was about to repossess. That training was real. The pattern that taught you that training was real, but the pattern is breaking. I am breaking it, not because you finally earned a different pattern, but because the season you were in is ending, and the season you are entering has different rules. The rules of the new season include the ability to receive good without bracing for bad. That ability is going to feel foreign at first. You will catch yourself flinching when something nice happens. You will catch yourself looking over your shoulder waiting for the consequence. You will catch yourself being unable to enjoy the goodness because part of you is still scanning. That is okay. That is just the muscle remembering its old reflex. The reflex will fade. Every time you catch the flinch and stay anyway, the reflex weakens. Every time you let the goodness in without immediately bracing, the new pattern strengthens. This is how the rewiring happens. Not through dramatic moments of breakthrough, though those will come. through the small, repeated choice to stay in the goodness 1 second longer than your fear wanted to. Sleep is going to come back to you, not in one piece, but sooner than you think, because the body knows when the inner climate has changed, and the body responds to safety with rest. Nights that have felt like battlefields will start feeling like nights again. The minutes between lying down and falling asleep will shorten. Your dreams will soften. There will still be hard nights, but hard nights will be exceptions instead of the rule, and you will start to remember what it felt like to wake up actually rested, which is a sensation you may have almost forgotten exists. Laughter is coming back to you. Real laugh, not the polite, reflexive sound you have been making for years. The kind of laugh that surprises you with its volume. The kind that makes other people glance at you with a small smile because joy is contagious, and they had not realized how much they wanted to see someone laugh like that. Laughter is returning because the worry took up too much room in your chest, and your chest is becoming available again for other things. Laughter lives there. So does song, so does deep breath, so does the warmth that other people feel when they are near someone whose interior has settled. All of that is returning to you. Slowly, honestly, without performance, decisions will become easier. Not because every decision will become obvious, but because the dread that surrounded decision-making is going to ease, and you will be able to face an option without your nervous system treating it like a trap. You will choose, and you will move forward, and if the choice turns out to be imperfect, you will adjust without falling apart. That capacity to adjust without falling apart is one of the gifts of the season you are entering. Imperfect choices stop being catastrophic. They become information. Information is something you can work with. Catastrophe is something that paralyzes you. We are leaving the realm of catastrophe and entering the realm of information. Trust in your own perception will return. The worry taught you to second-guess every instinct, to ask 3 other people what you should do before doing what you already knew was right, to dismiss your own clear sense of a person, a situation, a choice, in favor of a more anxious analysis that promised to be safer. The promise was a lie. The anxious analysis was never safer. It was just longer, and the longer the analysis went, the further you got from the simple truth your gut already knew. I gave you that gut. I put the knowing inside you. The knowing is not always loud, but it is always honest, and as the worry quiets, the knowing becomes audible again. Listening to it will come back to you. So will the memory that you are not the unreliable narrator of your own life. You are the one who has been there for every chapter. You know things about your story that no outside observer can possibly know. Honor that knowing. It has been right more often than the worry let you give it credit for. Prayer is going to feel lighter. For a long time, prayer has been work. It has been the place where you brought your fears to be processed, and the processing has been heavy. Now prayer will start including more silence and fewer words, more sitting and less requesting, more resting and less reporting. Not because the requests are not welcome. They are always welcome, but because the relationship is moving past the place where every interaction has to be transactional, and into the place where presence itself is the point. Come to me without an agenda. Come to me with nothing to say. Come to me at the end of a long day and just be in the room with me, and that being in the room counts. It counts more than the elaborate prayers you used to think were required. The elaborate prayers were good. The simple presence is better, and the simple presence is what the next season of your life is built on. The comparison habit will fall away. The worry convinced you that everyone else had figured something out that you had not figured out. Everyone else seemed calm. Everyone else seemed sure. Everyone else seemed to be living the life you were trying to live, only without the constant struggle. None of that was true. Comparing your inside to their outside was rigged from the start. As you settle, you will start seeing other people more clearly. including the truth that many of them are also carrying things you cannot see, and many of them are also waiting for the kind of word you are receiving right now. You will become someone in their lives, a person whose presence reminds them of the possibility of rest. The worry thought it was disqualifying you from helping anyone. The worry was wrong. What you have walked through is going to make you exactly the right person for someone who is just now entering what you are just now leaving. The pain was not wasted. The pain was preparation. Loving the people in your life will become easier. The version of you that loved through clenched fear was real, but it was tired. The version of you that loves through settled peace is going to be more available, more present, more able to hear the people you love without immediately turning their words into evidence of your inadequacy. Compliments will be received without argument. Concerns will be heard without spiraling. Holding someone else's hard moment without absorbing it as your own catastrophe will become possible. Your love is going to become spacious. And spacious love is the kind of love that actually nourishes the people it lands on. Kindness toward yourself will grow. The internal voice that has been narrating your every move with criticism is going to soften. Slowly. The voice has been practicing for years, and it does not retire quickly. But the catching of it will begin. The noticing when it speaks will begin. The recognizing that the voice is not your voice will begin. It is the echo of every harsh thing that was ever said to you, internalized so deeply that it learned to speak in first person. That is not who you are. You are the listener, not the speaker of that critical narration. And as you begin to listen with detachment, the narration loses its grip. You can hear it without believing it. You can notice it without obeying it. You can let it pass through the room of your mind, the way a stranger walks past your window without coming inside. The kindness you are going to learn to show yourself will surprise you. It will look like resting before you are completely depleted. It will look like saying no without explaining yourself 5 times. It will look like eating something nourishing because you deserve nourishment, not because you are trying to be good. It will look like going to bed at an hour that respects the body you have been given. It will look like buying yourself the small thing you have been telling yourself you do not need, the thing that would bring a quiet pleasure, the thing the anxious voice said was indulgent. It is not indulgent. It is the small daily evidence that you are someone worth caring for. You have been caring for everyone else. The caring you extend to yourself is not stolen from them. It is added to the supply you have available for them. A well that is full overflows. A well that is empty has nothing to give. This is what the abundance of goodness looks like in practice. It is not extravagant. It is not dramatic. It is the quiet accumulation of small kindnesses received and small kindnesses given until the sum total of your life starts to lean in a different direction. The lean used to be toward depletion. The lean is becoming toward replenishment. And once the lean shifts, gravity itself starts to work for you instead of against you. The momentum of your life starts carrying you forward instead of dragging you back. You will notice this shift before you can name it. You will simply feel one day that things are easier than they used to be, and you will not be sure why. And the not being sure why is fine. The shift is real even when its mechanics are mysterious. I am the mechanic. You do not have to understand the engine. You only have to ride. I want you to write something down today. It does not have to be elaborate. Just a sentence. The sentence is this: something is changing in me. I am letting it. Write it on a piece of paper and put it where you will see it tomorrow. The writing matters. The seeing it tomorrow matters more. Because tomorrow you will encounter a moment when the old anxiety tries to assert itself, and in that moment, the sentence will be there waiting. It will not feel like rescue. It will feel like a small reminder. The small reminders are how the rescue actually works. The rescue is not a single dramatic event. The rescue is 1,000 small reminders accumulating into a different way of living. Now, we are coming close to the place where I want to leave you for now. Not because the conversation is ending. The conversation never ends. But because there is a point in every conversation between us where the words have done what words can do, and what is needed next is silence, and the silence has to be entered before the rest can happen. Before we enter the silence, hear me say this clearly, without flourish, without metaphor, in the simplest possible language. I love you. The love does not depend on whether you are anxious today. The love does not depend on whether you are calm tomorrow. The love is the constant underneath every state your nervous system passes through. The states change. The love does not. And the love is not a feeling I am summoning to send you. The love is a fact about who I am, and you happen to be inside it because you are inside me, because everything that lives is held inside me, and you are loved without ever having had to earn it. Receive that, just for a moment. Receive that you are loved without ever having had to earn it. The kindness I have for you is not transactional. The goodness I am pouring into your life is not a payment. It is a gift. Gifts cannot be earned. Gifts can only be received or refused. Refuse less. Receive more. That is the only spiritual practice that matters in the season you are entering. Refuse less. Receive more. And the rest, the deep rest you have been needing, the kind of rest that goes all the way down into the cells of your body, will come as the receiving deepens. Sit with my voice for one more breath. Just one. Let it carry you the small distance to the closing of this time. Let it remind you that every word here was for you, not for the version of you that you wish you were, not for the version of you that has it all together, for the version of you that is here, tired, hopeful, anxious, soft, real. That version is the one I came for. That version is the one I love. Hear me one more time before we finish. The work of taking what you have been carrying is already in motion. I do not need your help finishing it. I need your willingness to keep noticing. Notice the moments when something inside you loosens. Notice the small kindnesses that begin appearing in the corners of your day. Notice the subtle shift in how you breathe when you remember that I am near. Each noticing is a small yes, and each small yes makes the room more spacious for what is being given to you. The giving has already started. Your part is to keep receiving. That is all. That is the whole instruction. Keep receiving. Refuse less. Receive more. And let the goodness do its quiet, patient, persistent work in the chambers of you that have waited so long for someone to bring this kind of light into them. I am bringing it. I am with you. There is nothing in your life that I am not already attending to. Rest in that. Lean into that. Let the words from this conversation linger in the place inside you where you store the things that matter most. They will keep speaking long after this conversation ends. They will keep speaking in the quiet between thoughts. They will keep speaking when the old worry tries to start its old routine. The words will be there as a counter voice, a softer voice, a truer voice. And the truer voice always wins, eventually, because truth has a kind of gravity that falsehood cannot match. Amen. If these words gave your soul even a small place to set down what it has been carrying, stay close to this voice. Subscribe so you do not lose your way back. Leave a like if the message touched something true in you. Share it with someone whose nights have been too long. There is more peace coming, and there is more rest coming, and there is more of me coming, and you are wanted here. Always.